It reads like a how-to guide in historical whitewashing. Are you aware that this new version of the bill from the Senate removes the writings of Frederick Douglass?
I am.
Are you aware that this new version of the bill from the Senate removes the writings of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.?
Yes.
Are you aware that this new version of the bill from the Senate removes the history of Native Americans?
The way the bill is laid out,
that's a yes or no
because
question.
we were very clear
are you
that
aware
we could not
this
be
new version of the
conclusive
bill
about every single
removes the
document out
history
there that
of
we
Native
could.
Americans?
I'm going to give you an answer. You're not. This isn't a trial. I'm going to give you an answer.
Okay, I'm ready for the answer.
The way it's set out is so that a teacher can go to different documents and different authors by which to teach from. It's by no means meant to be a conclusive list.
Let me just ask you one more time. Are you aware that this new version of the bill from the Senate removes the history of Native Americans? It's on page 3 of the side-by-side if you don't have it in front of you.
I believe you.
Okay. Are you aware that this new version of the bill removes mentions of Cesar Chavez?
Yes.
Are you aware that this new version of the bill removes mentions of Susan B. Anthony?
Yes, I am.
Yet the new version of the bill from the Senate, this is not the bill we all passed as a House, but the Senate's version, it still includes the writings of Alexis de Tocqueville, and he's not even an American. Could that be because he's a white man?
Not exactly.
Shalom, Shalom Israel. I am the brother Yawana from the Great Millstone, Arizona camp, coming back at y'all with Lord's will, another edifying lesson. First and foremost, as always, before I start, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and infinite glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rechachorash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, our teachers. Shalom to you brothers pushing and teaching this truth across the four winds of this earth. And as always, peace, blessings, and many salutations be to you sincere Akiyama Akwa, you brothers, along with you few sisters who are giving all diligence in these last days. Right, through the mercy and grace of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, through his only beloved begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, coming back with another sit-down lesson. And, I've played a video, at the beginning of this lesson, and as you can see, you had this Edomite on trial, and he was being questioned, because there's a new bill, to where, he's checking him to see that is, that he's aware of, the domino effects that are going to take place, as this bill is passed. And, a lot of the domino effect being, the removal of the history of our people. All right, Frederick Douglass, the Native American history. And I thought it was very spiritual because the scriptures go into this, right? Which, these devils have, hid not only who we are as Israelites, but he has hid, is trying to hide now, any history of our people. All right, because these devils really think that they're superior and that they're the greatest race on the planet. But the scriptures describe them as the basis of men. All right, and when you look at their history, compared to ours, man, they are really lower than us. All them years, all them Europeans, man, all them years just dirty, and even their so-called royalty, man. There's been a lot of, AI history that's, AI being used to pretty much give a visual of what was going on historically back in those times amongst the Europeans. And they were just, living super dirty, man. Under their powder wigs, they had maggots and bugs. And this is all stuff you can look up. They had sewage all throughout their streets. They didn't believe in, hygiene. And a lot of them thought in their mind that, water was more harmful to the body. So they didn't shower or bathe, And this history is facts, man. These are not things that we're just making up. This is what you can go find, given your own due diligence. So the point is, they, want to get rid of us. And, really it's because we're great, man. We look at the history of our people, man. We are true royalty, man. Even how we govern ourselves, hygiene-wise, financially, how we dealt with each other as a people. We've always been greater. All right. And that's why a lot of these different so-called black towns and cities that, came to be something, they eventually came to not, because we're not living in a time in which we are to prosper like that, having our own, cities and things like that. That's going to come. Scripture say here we have no continual city, right? No continuing city, but we seek for one to come. All right, so we're not able to fully get rest here and set up shop. We're just passing through as of now. We're pilgrims, okay, on our way back home. All right, but so now, as we're sojourning, man, we have to deal with our enemies being over us. And hey, look at the things they're trying to do. But hey, again, let's get into it. It's the Psalms 83 and verse 1. It says, Psalm of Asaph. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones, right? And we are the Lord's people, right? You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, which are the biblical Israelites according to the Bible, man. Okay, God's chosen nation above all that are upon the face of the earth. And I want to read this in the NLT on the right-hand side. It says, they devise crafty schemes against your people. They conspire against your precious ones. And that's Esau, Edom, and these other nations, which, as we're going to read, this is the mindset that they all have towards us. Come, they say, let us wipe out Israel as a nation. Woo! We will destroy the very memory of its existence. And I thought it was very spiritual, man. They're trying to get rid of our history because this is biblical, man. They've tried to get rid of, the remembrance of who we are. Okay, because we are so great, man. Our culture, the way we dance and sing. The script, Yahweh said we are the salt of the earth, man. Anything that you eat, like imagine eating some nice steak and you didn't get no season on it, man. Imagine eating something and it don't have the right flavor, man, or no flavor at all. Okay, you don't want to eat it, you don't want to drink it, but when it has that flavor and that kick, that's what you like, man. That's what you like, taste. The Israelites are the taste to the earth, man. Without us, there is nothing. And the scriptures, we're known as the perfection of beauty. Let me see if I can find that scripture. I believe it's in Lamentations. Ooh, yeah, this is heavy right here. This is Psalm chapter 50 and verse 1. It says, the mighty power, even the Lord, has spoken and called the earth from the rising of the sun unto the going down thereof. Out of Zion, the perfection of beauty, the Most High have shined. Woo! That's heavy, bro. We're known as the perfection of beauty, right? And right now, the scriptures say that, let me see if I can find that. See if I can find that. Here we go. This is Psalm 39 and verse 11. It says, when thou with rebukes does correct man for iniquity, thou makest his beauty to consume away like a moth. Surely every man is vanity, Selah. See that? So right now, we are in the lowest state, man. The Lord has taken our beauty away. All right, it can, because in the kingdom of heaven, man, the Lord says he's going to beautify the meek with salvation, man. The Lord's going to cause us to, like he says in, Ezekiel, the 39th chapter, the Lord says he's going to sanctify his holiness, within us for all the nations to see. Right? We're really going to shine in the kingdom. And Yahweh Shai said that, man, that the righteous shall shine in the kingdom of his Father, man. Right? They that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament. All right, so we're going to shine in the kingdom of heaven. That beauty is going to be restored to us. But now we're in the lowest state, right, because of our sins. And the Lord, has rebuked us, man, right? But at the end of the day, that's okay. Because with great mercies, right, and the grace that he's pouring out on us through Yahweh Shai, he's given us the understanding of who we are, right, giving us the ability to receive the understanding of who we are, what his name is, and what now we need to do, right? And that's to be obedient. Okay, and these nations have tried to hide this knowledge from us for a long time, but the Lord said that he would do what? Let's get that. Baba Kushah. I believe that's in the book of Isaiah. Here we go. This is Isaiah chapter 44 and verse 3. And it says, for I will pour water upon him that is thirsty and floods upon the dry ground. And that, took place, first and foremost with with Abba Bivens, which we believe to be Elijah the prophet, right, which is written of in Malachi, the 4th chapter, which was for it to come to where, turn the hearts unto the children to the fathers, man, roughly paraphrasing. He was going to become and be the restorer of the path, okay, and then from him, came, our elders, the elders, and then our beloved elder apostles now on down, okay, where this truth has flourished, man, because that breath of life, that living water was given back into us and quickened us, man. Now we're alive again, right? Well, you know, but 2/3 of our people, they are still dead, man. It says, for I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground. I will pour my spirit upon thy seed, and my blessing upon thine offspring. Woo! You see, and they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the water courses. One shall say, I am the Lord's, and that's what we're saying. We're the Lord's, man. And another shall call himself by the name of Jacob, and another shall subscribe with his hand unto the Lord, and surname himself by the name of Israel. And that's what's taking place now, man. Brothers coming into, you know, the Hebrew, which is that pure language written of, that the Lord would bring us back to in Zephaniah 3:9, right? Coming back to the ancient Hebrew, man. And brothers, you know, getting Hebrew names through the Spirit of the Lord, man. That's fulfilling this prophecy, okay? When we're amongst people in the world, we use our government name, you know, it's on our birth certificate. But among the body, man, you know, that, you know, we all go by our Hebrew names. Okay, and that's all part of prophecy, man. You see, but these devils didn't want that to happen, and that's why they kept his knowledge away, because they knew that if we came back, you know, to our God, that it would be the end of their rule and the beginning of ours, you know. But now this devil is even going as far to erase any history of us out of here, man. Again, that shows that perpetual hatred that this devil still has, okay? And it burns more now than ever, because he's seeing that his end is near. He's seeing the signs that we want to talk about happen. He's seeing things that we don't even see that's scaring him out of his pants, man. You know? But he's really scared of seeing us stand upon our feet right about now, man, being bold as a lion. This is Judith chapter 5. And I'm going to get to the point at verse 20. And just to set the stage, I believe Achor, okay, which was the chief of his people, you know, was pretty much answering Holofernes on behalf of who we are as a people. So he's breaking down in the verses above who we are. And he goes on to say this, you know, to Holofernes, who wanted to ultimately come and apprehend us. This is Judith chapter 5 and verse 20. It says, now therefore, my Lord and governor, if there be any error in this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin. And let us go up, and we shall overcome them. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their God before them, and we become a reproach before all the world. So, you know, that understanding of who we were, okay, and if we were serving our God, the Lord would be with us, was in the earth. You see? And these nations still have that in their mind, especially these elites, man. Again, that's why they've kept the knowledge away in the schools, right? Yeah, they've kept it away, you know, in books. You know, there's nowhere you can almost go find it. All right, now you got different books that have been made, and you have certain old books like, you know, from Babylon to Timbuktu, you know, which was a book that was heavily introduced within this ministry, because it really shines light on who we are, man, and even in history, you know, in the Bible, but see, the history and the scriptures coincide. You know, you have to have both, because if you, like the elder apostles have always said, if you don't understand the history, you won't understand the mystery. You see, and they didn't allow us to understand the history, and not even having an understanding of the scriptures. We never pieced them together, right? Until the Lord opened up our mind to understand, man. You see, to be able to, oh shit, you know, this links with that. This links with that. You know, but nevertheless, these nations know exactly who we are, and them now seeing us on our feet, they're terrified. And I wanted to also finish reading on this, because there's another point I wanted to make. Right, you know, there's a list of our enemies, and we're going to read who's at the top of that list, who's named first. This is Psalms 83 and 5 in the NLT on the right hand side. Yes, this was their unanimous decision, right? Esau, Edom, and all these nations, right? It says they signed a treaty as allies against you, right? So they all signed treaties, you know, against us as a people. These Edomites and Ishmaelites and Moabites and Hagrites, Gebalites, Ammonites and Amalekites, and people from Philistia and Tyre, Assyria has joined them too, and is allied with the descendants of Lot. So those are the biblical nationalities of the nations that we're enemies with. And the top of the list is the Edomites. All right, they're evil, man. You know, for you to want to get rid of history and not allow it to be taught of a certain people, but really that's what Esau does. Matter of fact, let me read this real quick too. In the book of Micah chapter 2. And verse 1 in the NLT on the right-hand side, it says, what sorrow awaits you who lie awake at night, thinking up evil plans. That's an evil plan. Okay, you know, that's an evil thought to have, that you're going to design a law, right, that pretty much strips the history from those that don't even have the power to fight against the law. You see, that's Isaiah 10:1, right? Woe unto them which decree unrighteous decrees. That's an unrighteous decree, man. Okay, but we understand the wicked is in power, so wrong judgment does proceed, pursuant to Habakkuk, the 1st chapter. Right, this is continuing on. You rise at dawn and hurry to carry them out, simply because you have the power to do so. And that's why Esau does these things. He has the ability to make these bills and laws, man. All right, we don't have the power to make the bills and laws. You know, the scriptures say we are yet this day in our captivity, man. We're slaves, right? The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. We're borrower, and Esau is a lenderer, man. We're having to go to our enemy for the want of all things. That's a curse. You see? But nevertheless, it says simply because you have the power to do so. That's why they do their wicked plans and carry them out, because they're able to, man. When you want a piece of land, you find a way to seize it, right? Steal all the resources off it, kill the people through genocide, or make a treaty in the middle of the night. You know, you break the treaty and kill them all while they're sleeping and take their resources and land. When you want someone's house, you take it by fraud and violence. You cheat a man of his property, stealing his family's inheritance. Woo! You cheat a man of his property. And that's just like the killers of the flower moon. If I believe it's, I heard brothers, you know, I heard brothers that were talking about it, and I actually kind of watched the trailers a lot, and you can get the gist, or I even reading the summary of the movie. But basically, you had Edomites that were marrying into native, you know, women to, you know, marry native women to ultimately, you know, be able to take plot of their land and their substance. And then after they would, you know, pretty much legally be able to claim their land and their substance, they would kill off their family so that none of them else would reproduce. All right, so that's evil, man. Right? You cheated when you want what says you cheat a man of his property, stealing his family's inheritance, and that's what Esau has done. Esau cheated our own people out of America, man. They stole it. They didn't discover it. They stole it, man. We were here for hundreds of years before they even came, thousands even. All right. So, you know, but see, now look at our people, man, on reservations, okay, you know, on drugs and all, you know, just struggling, you know, in madness. See, Esau did that, man. But see, it's okay, because he's going to have to pay. He's going to have to pay for all that, man. A full restitution is going to be given, right? That's in the book of Job, man. You know, these devils hate hearing it, but it's the truth. Matter of fact, let's get that. Haven't brought that scripture out in a minute, right? But it's fire, because that's what's coming, man. That's what we have to look forward to, right? I think I'm spelling it wrong. Here we go. This is the book of Job, chapter 20, and verse 18. It says, that which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down. Right? This devil's not going to be able to have everything this devil has is ours. The scriptures say that the world was made for our sakes. Who is we talking to? That's not talking about everybody on the earth. It's talking about for the Israelites, man. Right? So the world was made for our sakes. Right? It's made for us to enjoy and to be able to live on and prosper. Okay, it says, according to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein. You see that? When you have to give everything you have, and just like you see the movies when people owe money in the government, you know, send them to ultimately start taking their possessions out the house. They just open the door and start taking the couch, the TV. 10 times out of 10 people breaking down. Even it's happened in real life. People breaking down, they're taking your prized possessions out your house. You don't feel good about that. But now imagine that's going to happen to Esau on a large scale, man. He's going to be taken out of power, taken off the throne. He's not going to be given nothing, not even a bone. You see, not even a crumb, man. All right, he's not going to rejoice therein. It says, because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor. He's oppressed us. You know, that's oppression, what they're doing, trying to erase our history. You see, that's crazy, man. Without us, there it would be no America. You know, our history shows that we are the greatest people, man. We had irrigation systems, and our hygiene, we were on another level. You know, as I was mentioning earlier, you know, you look at these Edomites in their history, and they were filthy, man. They were living like pigs. Even worse than that, man. Okay? You see, but they want to get rid of our history. They should be more concerned on trying to hide their history. But even then, we're in a time where the Lord said in Jeremiah 49:10 that Esau's secret places shall be uncovered, and he shall not be able to hide himself. Esau can't hide no more, man. He can't even hide how he truly feels. He's the only nation on this planet that we will, at least I don't know, that's trying to erase the history of somebody else. That's crazy, man. It's madness, right? It says, because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away an house which he builded not. See, we've built. That's why one of the prophecies concerning our future, it's very comforting, because it says that we're not going to build and another inhabit. Because all we've done is build, set up houses, mansions, and luxurious homes for ones that we'll never own, right? But that's a curse too, that we'd have to go through that. You see, it says, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desired. All right, you devils, man, got a lot to pay for, man. But see, the Lord's allowing you to do these things, because when it comes time for you to pay the bill, you're going to have a large bill. You're not going to be able to pay it, man. You're going to have to pay it by blood, you see? And that's what you Edomites have coming, because that hatred that you have towards us, it has not ended, and we're seeing it unto this day. All right, unto this very moment of me doing this lesson. Okay, thousands of years later, these devils still have the same hatred for Jake. That's why that's why the scriptures say never trust thy enemy, because here it is. You Jakes are going to try to come and defend this, but yet he is not defending you. He's not defending you, man. How you going to try to help somebody up that's trying to constantly pull you down? You know, you got to eventually leave them alone, because if you don't, eventually they'll pull you down, and now you're going to suffer. But then it's your fault, okay? He said, "For we warn you, Jakes, man, that this man is not right. Do not trust him." All right? He's showing his hatred, but that's okay, because the Lord said he was going to do it. So it's really no surprise. But it's just more material to bring forth edification, okay, and understanding. You know, but nevertheless, Lord willing, I do hope and pray that this lesson was edifying, man. Once again, we are the greatest people on the earth, man. And all these devils want to do is, actually ended off here. All these devils want to do is bring us down. Okay, they don't want us to know who we are, because we're greater than them, man. And you have to know that. Right? It's not a thing of pride, but we truly are a greater people. Okay? Psalm 62:4. Matter of fact, I'll start at the top. Psalm 62 and verse 1, to the chief musician, to Jodathan, a psalm of David. Truly my soul waiteth upon Yahweh, from him cometh my salvation. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be greatly moved. How long will ye imagine mischief against a man? Ye shall be slain, all of you. As all you Edomites are going to be slain, man. It's going to say that the house of Esau shall be a stubble in the book of Obadiah. Okay? Yeah, when Yahushua comes back, man, you devils are going to be hit with nuclear missiles, as well as fire being shot out of them ships, man, when Yahushua returns. All right? It says, as a bowing wall shall ye be, and as a tottering fence. Woo! They only consult to cast him down from his excellency. That's the mindset they have for us Israelites. They only, plan, right, and have counsel together on how to bring us down from our excellency, from how to bring us down into a low estate. All right? They delight in lies. Esau loves to lie. And he's lied to us greatly by saying we're African American, we're Hispanic, okay, we're Puerto Rico, all these things. We're not Native American. Okay, we are the children of Israel according to the Bible, right? And although he wants to hide our history, the Lord has already revealed his truth to us, man, which is the greatest thing that we can possess. We possess great power in knowing who we are, man, and knowing who our power is and who he's for. Okay, it says they bless with their mouth, but they curse inwardly. Say lie, and that's the point. All right, they only consult to cast us down, but that's okay, because the Lord already told us who we were, man. But you devils want to try to hide who we are. It's too late. It's too late. See, with that again, Lord willing, this was edifying. I like to give all praise, honor, and infinite glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rachachodash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, our teachers. Shalom to you brothers pushing and teaching this truth. Until next time, Lord's will, I say shalom, stay strong, and keep the faith. Shalom.